Well, hello everybody, it's me, Mitch. I want to talk to you today about an email that I received from one of my viewers with a letter that she received from her cardiologist laying out her recommendations to her patient that she has to follow to reduce the risk of an imminent heart attack and cardiovascular disease caused by high cholesterol. Shocker. So let's go over this letter here. It says instructions from MD. Number 1, stop eating a carnivore diet and move towards a whole food, plant-based diet. Try to move towards a whole food, plant-based diet. Start by watching The Forks Over Knives, You Are What You Eat, and Game Changers on Netflix. Hey, hold on a minute. So what this cardiologist is telling us, that the hell with everything you hear, you need to go and get all of your nutritional advice from propaganda vegan videos on Netflix. Unbelievable. I guess Dr. Jenkins is her primary physician who referred her to this cardiologist. Number 3, repeat a lipid panel in 3 to 6 months. And more important, because it's bolded, number 4, buy a book called Fiber Fueled by Dr. Will Bolshevitz. Sounds like Dr. Will Bullshit to me. It goes on to say, thank you for visiting the Preventive Cardiology Program. Our goal is to reduce your risk of heart disease and prevent heart attacks and strokes. Now, she goes on to tell her that she's considered low risk for having a heart attack or stroke in the next 10 years based on the 2018 American College of Cardiology, American Heart Association guidelines for the management of blood cholesterol and or the pooled cohort risk calculator. So after telling her to stop eating a carnivore diet, immediately eat nothing but plants, she tells her that she's considered a low risk, and the reason she's a low risk is every other one of her numbers is perfect. In fact, this lady happens to qualify and fit into the lean mass hyper responder category, where she's in perfect health. She's slim, low BMI, high HDL, low triglycerides. But this is the advice from a licensed medical doctor, a cardiologist, who out of the gate tells her that she is a low risk, but that she should still go back to the style of eating that caused her weight and health problems. Goes on to say, in order to reduce your risk as much as possible, I highly encourage adopting the following healthy lifestyle behaviors. For more information about lifestyle medicine, visit, and there's a website. So let's go take a look at this website. I don't want to spend too much time here, but the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, very nice looking website, very well done, good graphics, a society of medical professionals united to reverse chronic disease. Discover evidence-based education, practice resources, yada, yada, yada. Therapy, lifestyle changes are foundational. And they talk about blue zones. Joining forces to change community health and clinical care. Read the latest. What is lifestyle medicine? 6-period nutrition. Evidence supports the use of a whole food, plant-predominant diet to prevent, treat, and reverse chronic diseases. I'm sorry, that's enough. I need a second to recover from that. Unbelievable. Anyway, let's continue. Number 1, strongly encourage moving towards a whole food plant predominant. That summarizes what they said on that website. Majority of calories come from whole plant foods, including vegetables, emphasizing non-starchy vegetables, fruits, whole intact or minimally processed grains, oat, quinoa, millet, bulgur, etc. Beans, legumes, chickpeas, peas, and lentils, minimally processed soy, tofu, tempeh, whatever the hell that is, nuts, seeds, fungi, that's mushrooms, processed foods and animal products, especially processed meats, and full-fat dairy should be minimized. For more information, patients can go to the website put out by none other than the producers of all of these propaganda videos on Netflix. Wonder who funds them. Let's continue. Now we get to the meat of it. High cholesterol, in particular high LDL or bad cholesterol, is strongly linked to increased risk of heart attack and stroke. A physiologic normal LDL cholesterol, and they have to tell you again, that's the bad cholesterol, is approximately 50 milligrams per deciliter. The median LDL cholesterol for adults in the United States is 120. Anyone who has a 10-year risk of heart attack or stroke that is considered intermediate or high risk and an elevated LDL cholesterol will benefit from cholesterol-lowering medications, including the statins, Lipitor and Crestor, Zetia, Repatha, Praluent, and bempedoic acid, in addition to significant changes in eating habits or other lifestyle behavior. Diet is the main determinant of LDL cholesterol for most people. Consumption of certain amounts of saturated fat, especially from eating dairy and yada, yada, yada. I don't know about you, but I'm getting tired reading the vegan playbook here. I'm just getting tired of it. Consumption of higher amounts of daily dietary cholesterol found in animal products like white meat, poultry, full-fat dairy, especially fish, would and shellfish contribute to high LDL cholesterol as well. That myth has been debunked years and years ago and buried in reports from the American Heart Association are basically the statements that cholesterol and saturated fat are no longer dietary nutrients of interest. These people will not let this nonsense go. Whole food, plant-based, I strongly encourage making, yes. The benefits of a whole food, plant-based diet, healthy vegan diet. Now there's an oxymoron if I ever heard one. And for those of you that are not familiar with the term oxymoron, it means two words that don't make any sense when put together. Like jumbo shrimp or military intelligence. Healthy vegan diet is an oxymoron. And then she goes on to recommend all of the vegan YouTube doctors. Dr. Dean Ornish talks about the Lancet studies. We go down, more propaganda, and she mentions Neil Bernard, Simon Hill, the movie Forks Over Knives, and Game Changers again. The websites of these propaganda pieces. And then, and Michael Greger. Michael Greger. And that's it. That's the end of it. Now imagine this happened to you. Your primary care physician saw your high LDL number, even though everything else was great, referred you to a cardiologist who happened to be a young woman cardiologist. So you go to the cardiologist. She goes over all of your numbers, but ignores all your numbers that weren't in a lipid panel. So basically, she focused on one number, LDL. That was it. The one number that, without any other factors considered, according to these people in the medical community, determines a course of treatment for the rest of your life and your likelihood of suffering a stroke or heart attack or having heart disease. And based on that one number, she gave this letter to her patient, which is nothing more than the vegan propagandist's handbook and reference guide. No studies, nothing valid. Now, what would you think if you were that patient? This is a doctor, got a long white coat, got a stethoscope around her neck, has an office. She must be smart. She must know something. She must know something. All of those doctors on YouTube, they must be idiots to recommend that I'm on this deadly carnivore diet when this real life doctor is telling me I'm supposed to do that. And as dedicated a carnivore as her patient was, as my viewer was, she told me that this shook her up, that even though after the length of time she'd been pure carnivore, after all of the beneficial changes to her health, her weight, after the elimination of all of her digestive and gut problems that she'd had, after her whole entire life and the quality of her life having turned around like so many of us have experienced, could actually be shaken by a letter like this. Fortunately, she came to her senses, is not going to go back and see this young female doctor again. I told her, wait 20 years and go back and see this young female doctor. She'll probably be a 300-pounder with diabetes if she follows this advice that she's giving out to her patients. So I'm going to wrap this up. And the moral of this story and the message is to remain unshakable, that you know the source. You know where all of this propaganda comes from. You know that all of any studies that purportedly link a high-fat diet to heart disease and heart attacks is a confounded, conflicted piece of marketing fluff, but not in any way, shape, or form anything that resembles science. There is no science that validates any of this stuff. And instead of calling us dangers to society for daring to talk about just eating meat, maybe they should turn the direction of their misinformation gaze towards the medical community. Look at the real evidence. Look at the number of people that are sick and getting sicker in this country following exactly this advice, trusting the medical community, thinking they're doing the right thing for themselves, when in reality they are slowly poisoning themselves and progressing towards a miserable, painful, slow, lingering death in some nursing home, drooling when their relatives come to visit. Now, I know I just painted a disturbing picture, but I've been to those nursing homes. I've seen some of my relatives take that path in life. It's not pretty, folks. Keep your resolve. And most importantly, take the rest of the day off. And for God's sakes, eat meat.